Hello students, welcome to today's chemistry session and I hope you all are fine and doing good. Okay, so we are in the chapter structure of an atom wherein we have been studying about the developments leading to this Bohr's atomic model. In the last class we have been studying about the dual nature of light wherein we say that an electromagnetic radiation is of both particle nature and the wave nature. When we talk about this particle nature, we have studied different concepts based on it, and the wave nature wherein the electromagnetic radiations are being studied, and Planck gives an expression where E is equal to h nu, where energy is directly proportional to the frequency of the light. Okay, and about the particle nature, we have been studying about the black body radiation, right, and also the photoelectric effect, which we have finished in the last class. What is photoelectric effect, children? The ejection of electrons from a metal surface, right? So, if you supply an electromagnetic radiation of a particular frequency, what happens there? If that has so much energy so that it can, eject the electrons, kick out the electrons from the metal surface, then this ejection of electrons, okay, happening at a particular frequency is called the photoelectric effect. And we have also studied about different observations obtained during this photoelectric effect, wherein important points to be remembered are: one is the number of electrons depends on the intensity of the radiation. How much brighter is the light, okay, more number of electrons are being produced. And in the same way, the kinetic energy of the particles, how faster are these electrons ejected from the metal surface, depends on the frequency. More the energy of the electromagnetic radiation, more will be the kinetic energy, more faster will the electrons travel out of the metal surface. And also Einstein gives an expression where the kinetic energy is being transferred whenever the electromagnetic radiation is absorbed or emitted. So what was the expression? H nu is equal to h nu naught plus half mv square. Now what is h nu naught? H nu naught is the threshold frequency. What do you mean by threshold frequency? The minimum energy required to eject the electrons from a metal surface. So each particular metal will have its own threshold frequency. That minimum energy is threshold frequency. Got it? And half mv square is transferred as the kinetic energy. So we conclude that whenever an electromagnetic radiation interacts with the matter, then it is particle type. I told you, in the solid or any matter, it consists of particles. So it is particle type. When the light falls on the matter, it acts like a particle behavior. But when a light travels through free space or vacuum, then it is behaving like a wave nature. Got it? So when it interacts with the matter, it acts like a particle. When it travels through space, then it acts like a wave. And that's how they conclude, in order to remove the controversies. What do? They say that an electromagnetic radiation consists of both particle nature and wave nature. So this is what we have studied in the last class. Moving on, in today's class, I told you, let us go on to Bohr's atomic model. Now, before moving into this Bohr's atomic model, during that time, there were many scientists who were working on these concepts. So, he took up the developments of these ideas and proposed his own model. Now, what were these ideas? I told you, one was the dual nature of light, right? The particle nature and the wave nature. The second one was the atomic spectra. What do you mean by spectra? The arrangement of different colors, okay, based on increasing frequency or decreasing wavelengths. Depending on that, you have the splitting of colors. That arrangement is called the spectra. Now, evidence for quantized electronic spectra. Now, why is this? What is the spectra which is obtained? How the colors have been arranged, and what does it depend on? This was studied during the proposition of this Bohr's atomic model. Now, you know that white light consists of different colors, right? Which are those? The big geode. And they are visible to our eyes. That's why they come under visible range. Yeah, what's their frequency? 7 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz to 4 into 10 to the power 14 Hertz. Now when you look at this, you know the one color which has highest frequency is and the one which has lower frequency is red. Okay, if the frequency is said to be high, then the wavelength is very less. They are inversely proportional. I hope you remember that. So violet has the highest frequency and red has the least frequency. Now, if light, okay, white light source is being passed through an object, okay, so what happens here is that, you know, due to the difference in the density of both of the mediums, now this light is traveling through space and it is entering to a solid or an object. Now you see that there is difference in the density of both. So when there is difference in the density, they bend, okay, the light bends, and this concept is called the diffraction. Bending of light is the diffraction. So you see that diffraction takes place. Now this diffraction, when it is tried, you know, when it is being recorded in a photographic film or a detector, you see that there is spectrum obtained, or there are the arrangement of different colors being obtained. Got it? So here white light as consists of different colors, okay, wherein violet is having a higher frequency and red has a less frequency. When it is passed through a medium, there occurs the diffraction. What is diffraction? Bending of light. Due to this bending, you can see the different colors which are being obtained. Now, so here this particular spectrum was having this kind of setup, wherein a white light source was passed, okay, through a prism. Prism is a glass object, you know, it is a transparent object which can, you know, just pass the light from it. It does not absorb or emit radiations, okay, or it does not absorb or emit light. Instead, they can, you know, diffract and pass on. Okay, so that is what is a prism. You must have seen it, triangular object, glass object. And here you have a photographic film or a recorder which can detect the different colors which are being obtained by the white color. Okay, white light. So suppose if an absorbing sample is kept here, it can absorb the light here. Okay, which I will talk about it later. For now, you see that there is white light source, you have a prism, you have a recorder. Got it? Now, as soon as you pass this white light source is being passed through this prism, you know it is a transparent object. What happens here? It obviously splits up the light into different set of colors. So wherein, you know, the colors are being obtained here with G or something like this. All the colors are being obtained. Just like how you have the rainbow colors. How do you see there? There is, you know, bending of light and there is splitting of colors. So you see that all the colors are visible to you with geode, all the colors. But they are merged into one among the other. You know, violet is being merged into indigo. Indigo is being merged into blue. You don't see particular lines splitting up. But instead they are merged between one another. Just like overlapping of them, these colors. So, this particular, you know, spectrum which is being obtained is called a continuous spectrum because they are being merged into one another. There are no definite boundaries, but easily you can make out, okay, which is the definite colors there. But they are merged, the colors are said to be merged, and that's why they are called as continuous spectrum. Got it? Now, if you know, instead of, you know, prism, instead of a glass object, let me take an opaque object now. Okay, suppose this particular, you know, object. Okay, now this appears to be blue. Understand the concept here, very simple. Okay, try understanding. This is a blue color object. This particular object will have a characteristic, okay, of absorbing all the other colors. Now suppose light is being passed through it, okay. This particular object will absorb all the other colors except for blue. Got it? So, when it does not absorb the blue color, it reflects the blue color back. Got it? So, that's why your eyes can see the blue color which is being there in this object. Got it? So, it absorbs all the other colors except for blue, and the one which is reflected back is seen by us. Just like it is emitting some radiation. That's why you can see this blue color. Now suppose you see this bottle over here, you have a red top. Okay, why does this have red top? Why is this red visible to us? Because it absorbs all the other colors except for red. That's that's why it reflects back and you see the red color on the top. So this is the basic concept which is to be understood. Okay. Now I tell you how does it work. For every object, okay, you know, every solid or any kind of salt solution or any gas, anything, for every object, you know, in order to absorb and emit some, you know, radiation, they have a particular range of frequency or wavelength. It is characteristic of that particular. Now this object is emitting out the blue color. So this is a characteristic of that particular object. Now, just like how we have our fingerprints, it is a characteristic of, you know, one human being. It is not formed by various people there. Okay, it is unique to every person. In the same way, each and every object will have its own characteristic frequency and wavelength wherein it can absorb and emit radiation. Got it? So, based on this, okay, based on this, you have two types of spectra. One is the absorption spectra and the other one is emission spectra. In, you know, when you see these words only you can make out absorption spectra and emission spectra. Now suppose, let me talk about this absorption spectra. Suppose an absorbing sample is being kept here. Anything, it can be any metal or any gas being kept or any salt solution, anything. Absorbing sample is being kept. What happens when you pass this white light through it? Okay. Suppose it is absorbing the blue color from there. Okay. So what happens here in the absorption spectra? If you see the spectra, what do you mean by spectra? The different colors, arrangement. This is being recorded. If you see here, okay, that blue color won't be visible in that spectra because it is said to be absorbed. Got it? So if that particular matter is absorbing the blue light, the spectrum which is being obtained, in that there will be blue light obtained. All other colors will be present. Okay, it appears, you know, like a black shaded region over there because it has absorbed that particular light. Now, what am I talking about? Which color? Blue light. Got it? So this appears blackish range over here, but other colors will be defined as particular lines. You know, very definite lines, and that's why this is also called the line spectrum. Okay, the other name for the absorption spectrum is line spectrum, as they are formed, you know, as defined lines. So here you have the absorption spectrum. Which color is being absorbed? Blue color is being absorbed. So in the absorption spectra, that blue color is not visible. Other than that, all the colors are visible. Got it? Now, if suppose, you know, that particular sample, if it is being heated. Now when you know that if an object absorbs a radiation, okay, if you try heating it, what happens? The particles will go to an excited state. What do you mean by excited state? They are having more energy, you know, and they absorb that energy and go to a higher level. That is excited state. Now any particle which goes to the higher excited state has to come back to the original state. Now when it comes back to the original state, it has to give out that energy which it has taken, right? It has taken up the energy, gone to the excited state. Now when it has to come back, it has to emit the energy. Whatever it takes, it has to give out. So in the same way, in the emission spectra, okay, in the emission spectra, the one light which is being absorbed, which was the light? Blue light. This is for example, okay, blue light is being absorbed. Other than that, now when it is heated, when that sample is heated, when it comes back, it has absorbed the blue light, gone into the upper excited state. Now when it comes back, it should give out that particular blue light. That particular blue light is only given out, and other than that, the lines will be black. No other colors are being obtained. In the emission spectra, the one which is absorbed is being given out when it is heated. You must be remembering the photoelectric effect right now. What happens in a photoelectric effect? When when the light is being passed through that particular object, the electrons are excited, I say. So due to this excitation of electrons, they are kicked out from the metal surface. In the same way, here also, when the sample is being heated, the electrons or the particles, they move into a higher energy state. So when they come back, they have absorbed the blue light, they have gone up to an excited state, higher energy state. So when they come back, this is being emitted, and that's how you get the emission spectra. No other colors. Got it? So this is how here I don't have that particular chalk and that's why I've colored it differently. So here blue color is being obtained, all other regions will be dark. Got it? In absorption, the one which is absorbed is not visible, all other colors are visible. Got it? So mainly you have to remember is that anything, any object which absorbs that radiation has to give it out. It can't keep it to itself. Okay? So this is what are the two types of spectra, absorption spectra and emission spectra. Okay. So as I told you, each and every object will have its own frequency and wavelength, and that's its identity, or it is a characteristic frequency or the wavelength of that particular matter or an object. And during this time, okay, there was a scientist during 1811, okay, Robert Bunsen, okay, who studies the line emission spectra of some of these elements like rubidium, cesium, thallium, indium, gallium, scandium. Okay, so he gives the line emission spectra of these particular elements, and by this, they have studied that in the sun there is helium gas. So this particular, the behavior of the gas and the spectra of the gas is being studied by this particular atomic spectra. Okay, so this was all about the different types of spectra and based on what process does this, colors are being obtained, spectrum is being obtained. So let us move on to the next topic. So moving on, okay, to about these spectra, that is atomic spectra. There was a scientist named Balmer, okay, Balmer, in 1887. What does he do? You remember the experimental setup where the white light source was produced and it is being passed through an object and the spectrum is being obtained. In the same way, hydrogen gas sample was taken. Okay, to that hydrogen gas, the electric current was being passed. Okay, so a setup was taken where hydrogen gas molecules are being present and through this hydrogen gas, the electric current was passed. Now, as you all know, hydrogen gas, what does it do? If you supply some energy, you're providing electric current, what does it do? It absorbs the energy, okay, and it dissociates into its atoms. Now, H2, okay, will be forming its own atoms. Two hydrogen atoms are being formed. Okay, so this is what is happening here. Absorb energy, electric current is passed, absorb energy and split into its own atoms. Now, this atoms, okay, when it absorbs so much energy and when it has to give it out, the released energy is being recorded as a spectrum, just like how we have done in the previous experimental setup. So, the atoms are being formed, they have absorbed the energy, and when they release their energy, the spectrum is being recorded, or the patterns are being recorded as a line spectrum here. Okay, so series of lines are being formed. Okay, as hydrogen has one electron in its shell, okay, it has to give one line. That is what we would expect. But Balmer, to his surprise, he finds that there are series of lines. There are many lines which are being formed like something like this. Okay, so the patterns are being obtained, in a different series of lines. Okay, now what does it, why does this happen? If one electron is being present, then one line should be obtained, that's it. But why is this? Let us understand more about this. So he finds a series of lines which are being obtained, and that too in the visible range. Okay, so in the visible range, somewhere here, and he names them as the Balmer series. So he finds a series of lines which are being formed and he names them as Balmer series. That is what he has found. But later on, when scientists started discovering there were different set of lines which are being formed in different range of the electromagnetic radiations, he found only the visible range. Okay, but there were series of lines which are being formed in different frequency range. I'll tell you about it. So Balmer series, I hope this is clear. What are Balmer series? The hydrogen gas, when the electric current is being passed, they split into their own atoms. Now these atoms, as they release energy, the spectrum is being recorded as the line spectrum. So the lines which are being obtained are called as Balmer series. Because it is formed by Balmer, it is Balmer series. Clear? Now, moving on, okay, this scientist, that is Balmer, he gives an expression, okay, in order to find out the series of these lines and also their relationship with the wave number. I hope you remember, inverse of the frequency, that is nu bar. So here he gives an expression where he connects these series of lines, that is, starting from n is equal to 1 energy level, n is equal to 2 and so on. So these n is nothing but the energy level. So he gives an expression of 109,677 into 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n square. Okay, that is in centimeter inverse. So that's the unit of wave number. So he gives an expression something like this. So in order to find the corresponding series of these lines and also their relationship with the wave number. But later on, this equation you need not remember much because this was modified later by a scientist called Rydberg. Okay, so what does it do? He says that this is not only for these lines which are present in the visible range. There are lines, he says that there are lines which are being formed in different ranges too. Like you have IR, you have UV range, there are lines formed for the hydrogen spectrum, which Balmer didn't know. And hence, he modifies the formula as nu bar is equal to 109,677 into 1 by n1 square, where n1 will be the first energy level, minus 1 by n2 square, the next energy level. So it is like a series which is corresponding. So when n1 can be 1, 2 and so on, it goes on. And n2 is n1 plus 1, n1 plus 2. So it's like a series. Got it? It's a corresponding numbers which are being formed. So you have to substitute it here. So based on this, the problems can be asked in order to find out the wave number by corresponding lines which are being given here. So they may give n1 and n2 values, you have to calculate. Okay, so the wave number. So what does Rydberg say? It is not only in the visible region that lines are being formed. There are different, lines which are being formed in the different, frequency range, electromagnetic radiations. Now, Bohr, he gives an atomic model based on this finally. Now what is it? Okay, based on these series of lines which are being formed and also the expression which was given by Rydberg, he finds that the model of an atom something to be like this. So he says the nucleus is in the center of an atom, right? And there are concentric orbits wherein the electrons are being present, and these electrons are present in only the allowed orbits. Allowed orbits in the sense that particular orbit will have a particular energy. In that energy level only they can stay. It cannot be like electrons cannot move wherever they want. No, it's not like that. They have to be in the allowed orbits wherein the energy is said to be particular enough for each electron. So this is how the model was considered, wherein the nucleus is in the center and the electrons are in the concentric allowed orbits, where the energy is said to be stable enough. Okay, so why are these series being formed now? You must be thinking about it. Okay, if Balmer series was the case, then why are these extra lines which are being formed? The ones which are visible to us is the Balmer series. Other than that, you have in UV, IR, fun. Okay, so all these are also in the IR range. Okay, so why are these lines being formed? Okay, let me explain about it and then later I will move on to what are these series. So, as you all know, if in a nucleus, in hydrogen, we are talking about the hydrogen now. Let me take one electron which is being present in the first shell. Got it? Now what happens here? The electron, it is said to be absorbing the energy. Okay, and when it absorbs energy, I told you, it goes to an excited state. What is excited state? It is nothing but the higher energy level. So if it is in n is equal to 1 right now, it absorbs the energy and moves to n is equal to 2, which is the excited state. If still more the energy, if the energy which is being absorbed by the electron is said to be double than that of what it is being absorbed, then it goes to n is equal to 2 directly. If it is more energy, then n is equal to 3, right? So depending on how much energy you supply, it goes to a higher energy level or to the excited state. Got Got it? Now, as I told you, anything which is absorbed has to be emitted. So anything, now this electron, if it is there in this level, it has to come back to its own level. That is the original level wherein the atom becomes stable. That's how it works. So an electron goes to excited state. So when it comes back, it will emit the energy. So it comes back to the original level, I said. So this emitted energy is being recorded as a lines here. Got it? Electron going to excited state. Then when it comes back, the energy which is released is being recorded. So here that is what you observe as different lines. Why? Balmer series you got to know, because Balmer series happens from n is equal to 2. That is, if the electron is in the energy level, that is n is equal to 2, then it can move on to n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5, n is equal to 6, like that. So this particular set is Balmer series. If it is the first one, that is n is equal to 1 to 2, n is equal to 2 to 3, okay, n is equal to 1 to 2, n is equal to 1 to 3, if it happens like that and keeps falling to the ground state, that is n is equal to 1 back, then it will be Lyman series. That is from n is equal to 1 to 2, n is equal to 1 to 3. If it is so, then it is Lyman series. So depending on different energy levels, you have different series which are being recorded as the lines. Got it? So hydrogen, one electron can be in any energy level. So this, transition which is taking place, that is from one higher energy level to the lower energy level, that lines are being recorded in different regions, but only visible is the Balmer series. Other than that, you have it in UV, then you have it in IR regions too. That is what Rydberg told. It is not only the Balmer series, different lines are being obtained. Why? Because there is transition from different energy levels happening depending on the energy what you supply. Hope this is clear. Okay. So let me talk about these different series. Okay. So these are named after different scientists. So first one, Balmer, wherein the energy level is from n is equal to 2 to 3, 4 and so on. So N1 will be how much here? For Balmer, N1 will be 2 and N2 will be 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Okay. So the first series what you have, that is from n is equal to 1, is Lyman series. Lyman will be N1 is equal to 1, right? And N2 will be how much? N2 will be the next number, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Got it? So you have the first one, Lyman series, Lyman. Then you have Balmer. Then you have Pascal. Pascal is in the IR range. All these three are in the IR range, Pascal. So Pascal, the N1 will be 3 and N2 will be 4, 5, 6 and so on. That's the third one. And fourth one is bracket series, starting from N1 is equal to 4 and N2 will be 5, 6, 7. Then you have fund, okay? Fund, where P is set to be silent here, you call it as fund. Got it? So fund series starting from n is equal to n1 will be 5 and n2 will be 6, 7 and so on. So this is how different series are being obtained for this hydrogen atom. Okay? So these lines are being recorded only for the hydrogen atom now. That's why we say transition of electrons in the hydrogen atom. How is it based on that? Bohr's atomic model, that is being recorded as lines here. So first one is Lyman series, Balmer series, Pascal, bracket, fund. So these 5 you should remember, which are the series, and also you should know how to draw this diagram whenever a particular series is being asked, and I will solve of the problems which will come to know later on, okay, using this expression of wave number, that is Rydberg constant. Okay, so I hope this is enough for today's class. In the next class, let us move on to more about this Bohr's atomic model. Let us continue with this topic. So until then, I want you all to study, go through the video if you don't understand it once again. So see you in the next class, children. Thank you.